Hey everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. We have some breaking news. Speaker Pelosi and Senator Chuck Schumer are supporting a $900 billion stimulus plan. According to CNBC, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer are urging Mitch McConnell to use a $908 billion bipartisan stimulus plan as the basis for relief talks. Remember, folks, that the Democrats are pushing for a higher stimulus relief bill, and until today, Speaker Pelosi and Senator Chuck Schumer have not settled for anything under $2 trillion. Now, this is great news because for the first time in months, Speaker Pelosi and Senator Chuck Schumer are lowering their stimulus demand to $900 billion. Now, before we get into the video, be sure to subscribe to my channel, click the notifications bell, and let's get this video to 1,000 likes. If you think that Congress must pass the stimulus. Folks, let's see this report from CBS News. It's about Speaker Pelosi's support for a $908 billion stimulus bill. That's after months of holding out for more than $2 trillion. There's finally stimulus progress being made.
Today, President-elect Joe Biden held a virtual roundtable with workers and small business owners impacted by the economic crisis. An out-of-work stadium concessions worker from Michigan said she was worried her job won't be available to her when the pandemic is over.
We are really suffering. And it just hurts us when we hear people that don't have any issues, politicians that are doing just fine, when they say, oh, they don't need that extra money. They're just lazy. They need to get a job. There is nowhere to go to get a job. But we would be working. We don't want to be sitting here.
They've just released a joint statement of Democratic leaders of the House and Senate saying that they believe there should be immediate, let me get this phrasing exactly for you. The need to act is immediate, they say, and we believe that with good faith negotiations we can come to an agreement. They're saying on the bipartisan framework introduced by senators yesterday that it should be used as the basis for immediate bipartisan and bicameral negotiations. So again, some sort of happy speak from the Democratic side about the need at least to have bipartisan discussions to move forward immediately, as they say it, on stimulus. You can see the market reaction. It's not just in the Dow, which, as I mentioned, is at session highs now, up about 31 points. But take a look at the yield curve, which we showed a moment ago, specifically the spread between the 2-year and 10-year Treasury notes. We're seeing that at first, after the release of the Fed's Beige Book, top of the hour, hitting the steepest since March. It is now the steepest since February of 2018. Important barometer of future growth there. Also, something that usually supports how well the financials are trading.
For the money coming from repurposed funding from the CARES Act. Now, the breakdown of this package includes $160 billion for state and local governments, $288 billion for the Paycheck Protection Program, $45 billion for airlines and transportation, and $16 billion for the vaccine and testing and tracing. This proposal would also extend unemployment benefits through the first quarter of next year, give more money to schools, and also ensure that businesses could have some temporary liability protections.
According to CNBC, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer have urged Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to use a $908 billion bipartisan stimulus plan as the basis for relief talks as Congress scrambles to send aid to Americans before the end of the year. In a joint statement, the Democratic leaders endorsed a more narrow aid approach. Pelosi and Schumer have insisted on legislation that costs at least $2.2 trillion. And this is the first time in months that the Speaker and the leader have lowered their demands to under $1 trillion. Schumer and Pelosi said in a joint statement, "While we made a new offer to Leader McConnell and Leader McCarthy on Monday, in the spirit of compromise, we believe the bipartisan framework introduced by senators yesterday should be used as the basis for immediate bipartisan, bicameral negotiations." But folks, one of the biggest issues in Congress right now is Senator Mitch McConnell. The Senate Majority Leader quickly shot down the bipartisan plan after its release on Tuesday. CNBC reports that he has only endorsed about $500 billion in spending in a new package. Democratic House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer was set to speak to McConnell on Wednesday about a pandemic relief measure, and a possible sign that Democrats could agree to link provisions to a spending measure. Hoyer said Wednesday that he wants to finish legislative business in the House by the same date. He told reporters, "The need is great, it is immediate, it is urgent, and I think that we certainly have the capacity to act. By the way, Senator Mitch McConnell agrees on that. Both parties have called to pass a legislation before the end of 2020, but have fundamentally different views about what they need to do to boost the economy and healthcare systems. According to NBC, Pelosi and Schumer's support renews hope that Congress could approve aid before the end of the year. The proposal will provide an extra $300 a week in unemployment payments and extend help to cash-strapped local governments. The Democrats urged Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to consider the proposal, a concession by Pelosi and Schumer, who have been pushing for a package more than twice as large. The Democrats' support puts pressure on McConnell to return to the negotiating table in earnest, as lawmakers from both parties are eager to pass some sort of relief. So far, Mitch McConnell has indicated that he prefers to keep stimulus bills closer to the GOP's early proposal of $550 billion.
We're now hearing Democrats say that they're getting behind just simple extensions of unemployment benefits. We saw this package today, which draws back on some of their demands for the amount of money that state and local governments would get. So this is a way for Democrats to be able to pass something and do it quickly because there is a deadline here. And that way they can then turn to what the priorities of the next administration might be. Whether or not this actually gets done, whether it's a nearly $1 trillion package or just individual measures that could get bipartisan support.
That's all the news in today's video, everybody. Before you go, be sure to subscribe to my channel, click the notifications bell, and let's get this video to 1,000 likes. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and until next time, have a great day.